It's customary in an emergency for many people to stress out and become pretty frantic about trying to figure out what to do. I've heard you often speak about the need to first start with, who do I choose to be in this circumstance? I'd love to hear more about that.
What you're referencing is what I call wakefulness. In terms of life, in terms of true reality is only ever experienced in the now of its happening, the present. So the question is, how alive are we in each moment? How wakeful are we? And if we are wakeful, how does that experience differ from not being wakeful, not being fully present? If we're not fully present, we're usually in our minds and the automatic regurgitation of our data, and that is repetitive. But if we are wakeful in the now, we are open to the creative insight of a moment, the creative insight with regard to the situation that is happening. So thus we are more truthfully informed about what is happening if we are wakeful.
I know you're speaking about much more than the phenomena of being so riveted that your adrenaline gets going and you become aware in slow motion of what's happening. You're talking about tapping into intuition and other dimensions of awareness, correct?
Yes. In my understanding, human beings are multidimensional forms of consciousness. For the most part, we get locked into the denser of those dimensions, the physical, the emotional, and the mental, and yet there are subtle dimensions to our multidimensionality wherein happens intuition, creativity, etc. But if we don't open those dimensions, if we don't actualize them, then we limit greatly our experience of life, or how we bring ourselves to each moment of the happening of our experience. So in that understanding, wakefulness is multidimensional actualization in your consciousness.
Yeah.
You are fully alive and accessing all that is possible, and yet all that is really necessary to a thorough response to the experience that is happening.
This was dramatically evident in the stories of your party in Mumbai when I was conducting interviews as we were writing the book. A number of them spoke about intuition and thinking of going down to the business center and getting a sense that they shouldn't do that, finding out later that that's where the terrorists were. Is that the sort of sensing you're speaking of?
Exactly so. And where does that experience come from that happens in the midst of an extreme life circumstance like a terrorist attack? It comes from years of practice. And what is the primary practice of wakefulness? The time-honored practice of wakefulness is meditation. So remember, this group of people were my students. They have been, in a sense, many of them, lifelong meditators. So they live more consistently, constantly, naturally in that wakeful state. So whether that wakeful state is experienced while you're in the marketplace as a tourist in Mumbai, having a good time on a sunny day, or that wakefulness is experienced in the midst of a life-threatening situation like a terrorist attack, it is still operative.